Now, is it more because you want to watch the fights, or is the gambling gotten you more? And is that you want to have some action Saturday night?
You know what? In all honesty, it's only really with my kids for the pay-per-views that we will go in and kind of play, unless we have a really strong feeling on something. But no, it really is rooted in watching some of these. I mean, there's going to be quote unquote kids, right? Youngs or guys new to the UFC that are on these cards that you can follow. Like we remember, my kid and I talk about it all the time, Jay, when Dricus du Plessis made his UFC debut. And you're like, holy Jesus, look at this guy, you know? And then the next thing you know, he's a champion at 185. Like,
I'm so
it's
glad you brought
wild.
that up. Yeah, and that's what's so interesting about and the more I watch, right? And Cody will know this, but like Ludovic Klein, who's in the co-main event, like the first time I saw him fight, I'm like, I'm going to follow him on Instagram and I'm following his career. And
Mm-hmm.
this might have been 3-4 years ago, right? And then he gets in a spot facing Ignacio Bahamondes, Bilal's guy. And Bilal's like, oh, Ignacio's going to wash him. And then Ludovic Klein beats Ignacio. I'm rooting for Ignacio, who's my friend, right? Nacho has now, that's the only fight he's lost in the last handful. And now he's on a different track. But yeah, it's fun following these guys early on. And gosh, there are so many guys on this roster of 600-700 that are very, very good and have very great chance to be champions one day that we've never heard of.
Well, and the guy who you just described for me, a lot like DDP, is because I wasn't aware of him, was Renier de Ritter. He made such an impression. You're like, oh, it's not going to take him long before he's in some high level fights. And sure enough, I think he's on his way to being in a high level fight. But there are just certain dudes or certain young people. Like I remember the first time Chase Hooper broke into the UFC, and I remember that fight. And just, you're following these guys. My wife got me hooked on NASCAR too. And it's the same thing. Like I remember seeing Ryan Blaney when he was in the truck series, and then he won the championship last year at the cup level and, made like $20 million or something crazy like that. Following these guys and watching the rise, even if they are veterans coming in, shit, they're new to me. So I'm rooting for them
Right.
for the first time.
It's so interesting when I think about like pro wrestling or NASCAR, things that I don't follow, right? I definitely follow mixed martial arts in the UFC, but I don't follow it as much as I would if John wasn't, the UFC play-by-play guy, I wouldn't follow the UFC as much, right? But some of this other stuff, like the band, I used to follow golf to a far greater extent, right? I used to be, by the way, and this just popped on tennis, right? I have so much love. If you saw Nadal yesterday at the French Open, right? And then they bring in Andy Murray and Federer and Djokovic, right? And they're all like in tears all the time, these guys getting around each other. It's so unique that these all-time greats, right, have these opportunities to be around each other and all sort of retire at the same time. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I used to be more into tennis, right? So there's only so much bandwidth, right? You seem to be sort of tapped into a lot of different things. I can't catch up with all of it.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned of all things like pro wrestling and NASCAR, because even in the sports talk world that I've lived in forever, they will tell us at times when there are these studies of the brand loyalty. And two of the entities that have the most brand loyalty are WWE and NASCAR, which is crazy because I do think there is, and this is UFC now as well, there's an element of I can watch people on the rise. You're hooking me in a different way. And I know WWE, it kind of is what it is, but they have like the NXT brands on the CW. That's like their third brand, for God's sakes. So you're watching these like kids who walk out of playing college football and they're on national television in a year and a half, and you watch them grow as performers. It's all the same.
Well, and Cody put his good point. UFC fighters have to win, right? It's like I remember when CM Punk came
True.
into the UFC, and
Yep.
I've gotten to know CM Punk a little. He's like gold. John talks about him just being like the best guy in the universe. Bilal's super tight with him. When he came into the UFC, he was exactly that, just another guy in the UFC that was going to be a real
Trying to
uphill
make his
battle.
way. Yep.
Exactly. And it's just interesting how there are plenty of UFC fans like me who didn't know everything there was to know about CM Punk because we don't follow wrestling.
Yeah, it's wild. And even, I don't go to the local shows, but the Birchfields here locally up in Rhode Island, I think they had the kid who is it Mutino or something But anyway, he short notice fought O'Malley, and O'Malley like beat the bag out of him, right?
Chris Patino,
But,
yes.
but afterwards, all of the UFC community was like, yo, that guy got beat up, but he deserves another chance. Like, it was almost like the badge of honor that guy got his opportunity, literally got the ish beat out of him worldwide for everyone to see. And everyone applauded him and said, we're going to give you another chance
because you
were so good at beating the shit beat out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a wild, what a wild sport. But that's also what makes it great, is that you can have these rare moments of these guys that rise up. And just quickly, I know you and John are good with John Jones, but God damn it, stop talking and can you get in the ring? Like, this is the thing about John Jones that drives me crazy, and I'm sorry I went down this road because I know we were talking UFC. I get it, he doesn't have to, but some people are now figuring out that the fights you didn't make are also ones that can hurt your legacy for those that are paying attention. And I know it's like chopping down a redwood tree. I get it and I understand it, but come on, man. The fight that could 100% unequivocally make you would be against Tom Aspinall, and why are you dodging it? And then I started to look into the timing of how things would happen and fights got postponed and things like that. That's going to start to stick to the legacy of this guy. We're smarter UFC fans now. And yep, he still might be the greatest and people will argue it, but there's a case to be made on the other side as to why he may not be so great. And it's moments like this that I get frustrated and want to make that argument. Sorry.
Do you think John Jones wants to or intends to fight Tom Aspinall at some point?
No, I don't. Because the negotiating to me could be easy. For the UFC, it's like,
I agree with that.
We have a ton of money.
Negotiating should be easy. Right. I don't look at that as being the main sticking point. My brother said, and I couldn't agree more, the real robbery feels like just having Aspinall shelved here is a real robbery. But I also do take John Jones's word. I do feel as though he's communicated something to the promotion that they don't want to release publicly, some sort of information, whether that's I need 20 million and I want it to be next April, or it's 20 million and I'll tell you when I'm ready. Might not be in 2025. Who knows what he's saying, but he seems to be in great spirits. I said it right. I'll see him June 14th, Dirty Boxing in Miami. You could be sure he'll be there in great spirits. So yeah, I would love to know what's going on in between the ears of John Jones. But if I'm a betting man, I think we're getting it at some point. And I guess I'm willing to be patient, but I can't wait to watch Aspinall do his thing post John Jones too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's the part of it too that I'm starting to realize are all of the people that got delayed or pushed off, or, some of the timing with even like the DC fights and stuff like that. Aspinall's 32. Plus, if you're Aspinall, you're also looking at a Jay and being like, this is his Powerball, is it not? Like this will probably be one of the, if not the biggest grossing fight that he may ever have as an individual fighter if he gets in the ring with John Jones.
Well, and what's he lost by not competing already, right? And it's like it comes down to the Michael Chandler. You're waiting for that bag. It's a different conversation with Chandler waiting for the McGregor bag. But with Aspinall, it's got to be a very tough navigation because you're not really trying to fight anyone else right now. You know what I mean? Like there's no,
protect his brand too. Like
exactly.
Right now, he is the perfect opponent for John Jones. And I hope it gets done. I hope it was short-term frustration. I think Aspinall put something out last night on Instagram saying 528, and then it just kind of faded.